To advance, I find that we must determine which skills, beliefs, and character traits we lack. Most times, we simply need to improve. Welcome to another episode of Champion Reads, where we sit down and discuss the best books in the world today to help entrepreneurs, high achievers, and people in general to be more than they are now, to achieve what we want to be. Champion Reads is brought to you by Champion Circle. You can find us at mychampionscircle.com. Champion Circle is a place where entrepreneurs and people of all walks of life meet together virtually, in person, through a variety of means to better their lives, to accelerate their success, to mastermind together, and have a little bit of fun on the side. So today we are joined by the founder of Champion Circle, Mr. John Kobetz Jr. We're joined by my co-host, co-producer, executive producer, Mr. William Blake, and me, I'm Ian Sturmer. Today, we are going to be discussing Alex Hormozi's wonderful book, $100 Million Offers. This is our second sitting with this book. And if you haven't read this yet, you should definitely pick up a copy. This is one of those books that just goes straight to the source and is full of go out and do it information. There's a lot of great theory books out there and background and changing how you think about different things. And this one is a boots on the ground, get out there doing it. It's hard to say that without swearing a little bit because that's how he gets his point across a lot of times in this. But we'll keep it PG for our listeners today. Really, one of the points he brings out a lot in the book is simplicity. Sometimes we get so wrapped up in what we do and in what our business is, what our offer is, that we just convolute it and complicate it. And by the end, our customer doesn't even know what it is that they're supposed to sign up for. So, simple question is, how do we simplify our business? How do we simplify what we do? So, I'm going to start with an idea of the old elevator pitch. I know this is a little outdated, but I think that's a good way to start the concept of simplifying what you do into a few simple words. And now that I started that, I'm trying to think of what my simple elevator pitch is. And that's a sign that I need to be in this discussion to learn more, to simplify what I do. For one of my businesses is small business coaching. Say, well, I help small businesses, but what does that mean? How do I simplify that? How do I put it in a way that people can understand? So one way that I bring that out is to say, I help businesses who hit that point where they can't grow bigger without hiring somebody, but they can't afford to hire somebody until they grow bigger. So I think the first way to simplify is to bring out a specific pain point that you can solve for somebody. So I'm going to kind of turn the time over to my co-hosts. I see them kind of nodding and listening. And I know Mr. Kobetz Jr. always has a point ready to come out in there. So
I appreciate you guys including me and having me in these discussions. And as I shared, my book's on its way, and I started reading through some of his coaching material, jumped into Alex Hormozi's website and started learning a lot from a lot of the materials that they have just for free. And in the meanwhile, my book's in the interim of airplanes and travel and packaging and all that. But one thing you said, Ian, is really cool. And it reminded me of the first time I ever saw an advertisement by Alex Hormozi. Here's this really buff guy with a really dark beard, and he stands like this, kind of has no neck, and he says the words, and I'll never forget them because it was a little blunt, it was direct, but it was like, no one's ever asked me for that. It's always been a bait and switch. Most people say, download this free ebook, and then you click the button, and then it's like, but we need your email first. But Alex Hormozi, his advertisement was, hey, I'm Alex Hormozi. Can I have your email? In exchange, I'm going to give you, and he holds up a stack of 100s, and he says, I'm going to give you $1,000 worth of solutions to grow your business through some of the methods that we've used to grow a $100 million offer. And I go, genius. Like, here's somebody who just doesn't blow smoke. Here's somebody who's just telling you what they need, and they're going to help you, and you're almost taken back by the ask, but then you're like, oh, I get something out of this, and oh, that's pretty generous, and oh, look, he's holding cash, so clearly he didn't borrow $1,000 from his mother-in-law. He is literally holding cash. He probably deposited those that day. I don't know. Let the brain do what the brain does. But I love his simplicity of the offer. And I love what you said, Ian, because you're absolutely right. Like, keeping it absolute, what was it? The Grand Slam offers, like, your elevator pitch needs to be clear, different, memorable. And I'll never forget that. I'll never forget what Alex Hormozi did. And now I'm like inundated, my entire YouTube channel is like, yada yada Alex, yada yada Alex, yeah, and the school games and all the stuff they got going on. And I'm finally like digging through his material, mostly because it took longer than 2 days for the book to get here. So but I just wanted to add that and just say, number one, keeping your offer simple, brief, but telling people up front. I work a lot with Eric Swanson at the Habitude Warrior, and he does a really good job of, when we get on a sales call with people, he tells people right up front, look, I've got an offer for you. Yes, it's going to cost you money, but we're going to give you some really, really cool bonuses that's going to make it a no-brainer offer. And we're just going to come at this from a perspective of why we think this will help you and your business. And so there's like, we just kind of like sit back and relax. It's not like we got to wait an hour for the car salesman to go back to the manager and decide which price they're going to throw at us. And then you have to wait to see if you can apply for credit and all that crap, So I love the idea of simplicity and being direct and also memorable. So that was my long-winded answer to your awesome pitch, elevator statement, I should say, Ian.
I like simplicity too. Simplicity, especially for someone who is dyslexic, simplicity is always good. Whoever created the freaking word for a dyslexic, who call themselves dyslexic, for someone who struggles with spelling, they need a slap on the hand, because goodness gracious, it should just be called like dis or dad, or not dad. Dad's a good word. But like something else that just makes it more simple. Because when it comes down to it, the clearer you get, the easier it is to make a decision. And with our clients and customers that we have, the easier it is for them to understand what we do, the easier it is for them to get on board with it. I know there's a company I have in mind. I don't want to share their name, but every time I talk with this individual about their company, I'm always like, so remind me what you do again. And I have to say that multiple times because I still don't understand his company. And he says, well, it's kind of complicated. If your first statement after someone says, what is your company, is, well, it's kind of complicated, then you've already lost me. And you've probably already lost like 90% of people. because it needs to be simple. And with the elevator pitch, I don't think it's old fashioned. I just think it's more of like the car sales type thing. You got to have the elevator pitch, right? But it's really like you just got to have your statement. You got to have your mission statement and what you do and what your company's about. So with my coaching, depends on who I'm talking to. Like if it's kids or teenagers, I say, yeah, I help people to discover their dyslexic superpower. But if it's more on the adult side and on networking, I go along the routes of, yeah, I help adult dyslexics to achieve their goals in 45 days or less. Right? Super simple, direct to the point, and just like that clarity makes it super easy for other people to then ask the wonderful question of, tell me more. Goodness, whenever I hear tell me more, that just makes me ecstatic because you know that you've hooked them. You know they're engaged in whatever conversation you're having. So John, Ian, both of you are absolutely right on the money. The more clear we can get, the easier it is for the customer and client to then get on board with what we're doing.
Yeah, love that. And Alex Hormozi shows us throughout the whole book how to do that. I mean, the title, $100 million offers, money. He mentions in there money all the time. He says, this is a book about making money. And I have to paraphrase what he said with that, but if you don't think we're supposed to make money, then put this book down right now and go and try and change human nature. Good luck with that. But it's all about, this book is simply money, how to get more money in your pocket, not being unethical, not stealing, none of that, but how to get people to want to give you more money. And he talks about that people pay for speed and convenience. And I know John talks about his business, Champion Circle. One of the slogans on there is achieve anything in 90 days. Now, William has upped that a little bit, and he's telling him they can achieve things in 45 days. So sorry, John, I'm going to talk to William because that's even faster. And I'm working on a program to achieve anything in 44 and a half days so that I can definitely get all the business here.
Oh, dang, you're beating me. Dang it.
Yeah. But the simplicity that people pay for speed, people pay for convenience, people pay to get rid of a pain point. That's what they pay for. They don't care about the rest of it. If there's a diet plan, all they care about is, will I lose weight? They don't care about how pretty the packaging is or how it's delivered. They care about the simple part of it. So with that, how do we simplify our offer to the core of what we are giving somebody? How do we get that simplicity? I know Champion Circle has a range of things when I introduce that Champion Circle does, but how do we dive down to the core, the simplicity of what we have to offer, the simplicity of dealing with dyslexia, of having the super D. I don't know, I'm trying to work on something there for you, Willie. But how do we look at our business and narrow it down to the simple core that we can get people excited about? I see John has his microphone off with a thought waiting for me to finally stop talking, so you can jump in.
Just kidding. Going off of just some of the materials I have here in my notes, Alex Hormozi says, no offer, no business, no life. Bad offer, negative profit, no business, miserable life. It goes even worse than the no offer. Decent offer, no profit, stagnating business, stagnating life. Good offer, some profit, okay business, okay life. Grand slam offer, fantastic profit, insane business, freedom. So there is not a lot of gray in your offer, right? There's not a lot of growth or any positive feeling of like, when I started a business, I really looked forward to spending no time on the weekends with my family, and basically working in the office all day. No one says that ever, right? Unless you're that type of hermit. But the importance here is again, focus on a Grand Slam offer. And as you guys know here at Champion Circle, but also in our lives as we mastermind on a monthly basis, we're consistently working and defining our offer. And with what Ian said, with a particular audience in mind, we want to make sure that we capture the right people, and slowly but surely we're capturing the right thing. So in order to define and create a great offer from experience, I'm sharing, it takes a little molding. We wrapped up some discussions recently, and we reviewed a book called How to Build a Story Brand by I just tried to say his name and I totally forgot it. Michael something. Anyways, the story brand concept was about sharing the story that you are not the hero, but that you are the guide, and that the customer is the hero in their story. And I thought that was really genius. And I thought that was a really great application for people to remember, is that every great story, some of the best box office selling stories, have a guide. And I have some thoughts on that later. But basically what I wanted to add to what you're saying, Ian, is, with everything that we've got going on here at Champion Circle, first and foremost is we're an education company. We're here to help you learn, process, and apply Think and Grow Rich principles. Why? Because I, myself, the founder, the leader, have used Think and Grow Rich to make money, to improve my life, to do what the 1% has done and the 99% have not done. And we, as facilitators, guides, and we'll call them teachers, I guess. We're not gurus. We're not coaches. We're not instructors. We're just teachers. We're guides to help people follow through on their Think and Grow Rich learning and applications, so that they too can do what other millionaires have done, and also to apply principles that have helped make more millionaires than any other book, any other process, and any other step, than anything that has been recorded in the world. And so I know that that's telling a story that's not as simple, but it is enough information to say, well, wait a second, he's got a point there. There's a methodology, or there's a bunch of research and a bunch of work that has gone into what we do and offer. And yes, there are layers, but we create those layers for your availability. If you're on a low budget, but you still want results, we have a package for that. If you're, and Alex Hormozi has that. He has free, medium, and really expensive. If you've noticed, if you go to his website, there's free, medium, and really expensive. And he tells you, look, if you're not looking to build a $100 million offer right this minute, and you're not willing to spend $1,500 to join our school, then it's okay. Just take the free offer. And he's like really cool about it. And he doesn't make you feel pressured. And we're the same way. We don't want to pressure you. We have coaching, we have accountability, we have things that will help you accelerate your results. And yes, you can achieve anything in 90 days. In fact, I'm going to one up. No, just kidding. You can achieve anything in 2 days or 44 days to beat the 45 and a half or 44 and a half, because it's all it's all dependent on your discipline and your action. I've been monologuing for way too long, and I know these guys have more great things to say, but I just wanted to add in there, like, really at the end of the day, you need guides. You need people who have solutions who will get you there. But at the end of the day, it's you, the listener, who needs to pull the trigger, who needs to press the start button, who needs to wake up and say, today's going to be different. Today's going to be better. Today, I'm going to walk. I'm going to run. I'm going to sprint. I'm going to do things that I have not done before. Because if I keep doing the same thing over and over and expect different results. That is called insanity. Okay, I'm done.
Boom. The passion, the fire. And John, I had to look up the author too for Story Brand. Donald Miller. Donald Miller is the author. Yeah. You brought up so many good points. The one that stuck out to me that like kept picking at me as you kept talking, jumping back to the Grand Slam offer, and jumping back to one of Alex Hormozi in what he said when building an offer and building your brand, is when it comes to really being great at something, you can only really be great at like 2, 3, maybe 4 things. So you got to pick them very wisely. That reminded me of something that Tony Robbins said. He said, and it was about raising children and about families. And I thought this was crucial because Tony said it and Alex said it, 2 of my favorite mentors. So obviously it has to be good information, right? But it also reminds me that when it comes to the greatness of things, it's not just applicable to your brand. It's also applicable to your family. It's applicable to your life. And so what Tony said was that if you are poor at parenting, then you're going to get bad kids. And this is like the average, you could say. There's always those anomalies, but if you're poor parenting, you have more of a chance to hit bad kids. If you are bad at parenting, bad kids. Poor at parenting, you still get bad kids. If you are good at parenting, the results are you'll get poor kids, which is kind of controversial because you think, oh, if I'm a good parent, then my kids should be good. That's not really how it works. Because like if you're just good at something and you're lukewarm, you're just there, that doesn't mean you get the best results. Like John said with Alex Hormozi, like if you have a good business, you might get some income, you might get some things, but your business is pretty lackluster. If you have a great deal and a great family and parenting skills, then you're going to have good kids. Now, when it comes to wanting great kids, the best out of the best, Tony Robbins uses this word that starts with an O. It's outstanding. You got to be outstanding in your parenting. You got to be outstanding with your branding. And when you are outstanding, when you're the highest of the high and you are like dedicated and doing the best that you can, then you have a better chance for your kids to be great. And you can apply this to your branding as well as all aspects of life. We pick a few things that we want to be outstanding at, and we put all of our time, all of our effort into it. I know for myself, I'm raising 3 girls. I want my parenting to be outstanding. So that's one of my 3. I also want my business that I'm working on and my skills to be outstanding. So that's another one. And the third one later. Those 2 are the ones I'm focused on. But the principle rings true. If you want the results to be great, you can't just be good. You can't just be great. You got to be outstanding. You got to be above the level that the results come. Because as you put it out into the universe, it will always come back. So that's my thought I wanted to share with you, and I'm complete with that thought.
Love that. And as a parent of 2 kids, I spent what feels like thousands of years outstanding on soccer fields, outstanding on the softball field, outstanding in the gym as my daughter was doing cheerleading and the football fields. I was outstanding, standing all over the place watching this. But you bring out a good point that ties into something Alex Hormozi talks about as well. If you want to be the second best at your business, you're going to fail. There's no prize for second best. No one says, I did all the research and this is the second best car to buy. So I went and got it. This is the second best diet plan out there. So that's what I'm going to do. This is the second best TV show on. So I'm only going to watch that one. No one wants second best. You've got to become the best at what you do. And best is a relative term. I always say that there's a spectrum from the cheapest to the highest quality, cheapest price to the highest quality. And I've never met anyone who was the absolute cheapest in the world at anything or the absolute highest quality in the world at anything. But everyone has at least their place on that spectrum where they are uniquely offer that value to price to value spot. So as we look at what we can offer, where is our spot that we come in being the best at? How do we niche it down so that we offer the best dyslexic achievement coach to superpower our dyslexic children? How do we offer the best mastermind group that's online the third Thursday of every, we change the dates and I make sure I get the right day on that.
Third Wednesday and first Thursday.
Thursday, thank you. I obviously need to find the best calendar system to keep track of dates in my mind. So if there are any suggestions out there. But we need to narrow it down to simplify what people want and what we can offer that's going to be the best for them. And he mentioned in his plan in these gyms, he was trying to find a marketing strategy. And he tried things like, we will get you in shape. We will help you to be healthy. We will help you to look good. Then he hit lose 10 pounds in 30 days. Boom. People want it. Simple, gives them what they want, puts him in as an expert to do that. Achieve anything in 30 days. Overcome obstacles in 45 days. Be better looking and have great hair in 44 and a half days. Whatever I'm going to work on. Simplify that offer. Come in as the leader in that. And if you're working on price, you're going to put yourself at the bottom all the time. He says you should charge the highest price that you can do without cracking a smile. Because there's a difference between price and value. But the fact is, a lot of people don't know that difference. And if they see a higher price, they assume a higher value. Now, we want to give that value. We want to be honest in what we're offering. But people see things too cheap. They don't see it as valuable. There's a quick example. Years ago, Sun Microsystems came out with an Office program to compete with Microsoft Office. And they gave it away for free. They thought it was a great way to build the reputation, their brands, and nobody cared about it. So they started charging $75 for it. People started buying it. They wouldn't download it for free, but they would pay $75 for it because then it had a value to them. So as we simplify what we have to offer, show people the value, and then ethically make some money on it. Because if we're not in this to make money, we're not going to be in business very long, and we're not going to be able to help very many people. So there's my words of wisdom. Simplify, create value, and make money.
Yeah, as I go through some of his skeleton outlines on creating your Grand Slam offer, and one thing that you covered very well, Ian, is the defining the problems and the solutions when it comes to sharing your offer. I was laughing because you were so specific about the lose 10 pounds in 30 days, and I thought, recently I just went on a backpacking trip, and my pitch could be for anyone who wants to join me next year: lose 15 pounds in 7 days, and you might end up with a parasite too. But hey, 15 pounds is a pretty good look.
Parasite's a bonus.
Yeah, exactly. That's your takeaway, right? Literally. All jokes aside, he talks about the enhancements of your offer. And I'm just going to throw these words out. We'll probably cover them in another segment, or just want the audience to think about these. But these are helpful for me as I'm going through the skeleton offers and the different chapters he offers in his book, which are, first, you got to create scarcity. Okay. And as I was reading and finishing up Story Brand, Donald Miller, thank you for the reminder on the name. And as I'm, jumping into this book, there's some synchronicities that I love, and it is all about defining and creating an offering, but creating urgency, right? It can't just be available to everyone. It can't just be available for anybody. So you got to create that timeline of urgency. Bonuses. Like I said, when I get on a sales call, I really tell people right up front, like, look, there's a cost to what we're doing. And I'm really going to get you a great price, but I'm also going to give you some really cool bonuses that are going to make this a no-brainer. So I just want to see where we're at. And, I'll stop when you say, John, that's enough. I have enough Christmas presents. Stop giving me so much value. Another one is guarantees. What do you guarantee? And I want to place a warning behind that because, and I know we're running out of time, but right now the industry standard for guarantees is money back guarantees. If this doesn't work, we'll give you your money back. That's not a great guarantee. It's a great guarantee if somebody's willing to back out of something, or if somebody's willing to give it a try for a 7-day free trial. But the money back guarantee is not a great guarantee. That's a very midnight, late night sales, whatever, advertisement thing. But guarantees are what you promise to help your customer, and that's more important. Hey, Tilly, I'm on a podcast. Could you please keep it down? Okay, my dog is like wheezing in the background. He's a little smoker problem. And then the last one is naming. And I'm not sure what that one entails, but importantly, these are some words, some concepts that when creating and defining and improving or enhancing your offer that you can use, make scarcity, urgency, bonuses, and guarantees and naming as part of the process. And you can define and really mold your offer very quickly and better as you do so. As we are, and I openly admit, as the creator, founder, and CEO of a company, we are constantly molding and defining our offer, our principle, and I do so vulnerably to the world and say, look, just because you have an offer doesn't mean that's the same offer. I worked for Coldwell Banker Commercial in its prime in Salt Lake City before it became Colliers and Colliers International. And we were constantly fixing and molding our offers and helping people understand the why we were the best in the market. And it was evident that we dominated because we continued to push a theme of being the best and a result or a results oriented business structure and brand. However, we continued to define our offer, and per each client, it was a different experience and story, and it was really fun to be a part of that. So there is again my third monologue for the day, but I just wanted to emphasize the importance of simplicity. And as you redefine your offer, continue to focus on those aspects that help you and others buy what you have to offer.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And I'll end it with my thoughts of everything we talked about today. As you learn with going forward, as you learn from Alex, as you learn from like everything that happens in life, when it comes down to it, make it simple, make it great. If you do those two things, nothing's going to stop you. Everything's going to be able to work for you. And so just like what John said, just like what Ian said, I know that I'm not perfect in it and what I'm doing. I know all of us are working on it as much as we can. But as we go forward with that Grand Slam offer, and as we go forward with coming up with ways to be able to provide value for our own people, we don't need to take the standard of everything. We need to find the value and the pain points for our own people. And as we do that, then we're able to come up with that Grand Slam offer.
You got pulled into the void.
That's what I thought. I was seeing if it was me or him when everything freezes. I'm not sure. So Once you're back, Willie, we'll let you finish on that. But I'll kind of close up with that idea that simplicity, make your offer known, make it unique. I'm going to share my favorite sign that I have ever seen for a business. It was for a gym, and it said, "Tired of being fat and ugly? Now you can just be ugly." And I love the simplicity of the way it does that. It tells you exactly what you can do. And I'm going to kind of finish up with something John said earlier. You went through those words, and I'm going to make an executive decision. In our next week, I want to go through those words and show how we use those. I wrote them down as you were going through them, how we use those to craft our Grand Slam offer. And we have Willie back, so I'm going to turn the time back to Willie to finish your comment on there, because I know you had some wisdom I was getting involved in, and then I just was left hanging and waiting to see what was going to be that bombshell at the end. So go ahead.
You're good. My laptop just totally died. It was like at 44% 3 minutes ago, then jumped to 27.19, and then just died. So I don't know where it left off, but really it comes down to, if you come up with a clear mission, come up with something that people can understand, and come up with a great offer, then that's really what you're able to come down to. And as you focus the most of your energy on those pain points from the customers or clients that you're aiming towards, they're going to take your offer. Like they have pain, and if you have solutions, they will take your offer. It all comes down to whether it's you focus on one pain point, whether you focus on a few, or if you're able to transform their life. Out of those three, I will always go for the person who can transform my life, because that means that they understand what I've been through, what I'm going through, and what will happen. And they're willing and already have provided the solutions so that my future doesn't have those problems, or at least I can be able to manage them. So when it comes to the offer and the branding that you do for your business and clients and customers, make it so that it is irresistible and that people are just stupid if they say no.
We'll give you a free Hershey candy bar if you sign up. Irresistible. Except for the dieting one. Sorry. But yeah, love that, Willie. Just make it irresistible to the person. Make it so tied into what they want that we have that solution. So thank you, everyone, for joining us in Champion Reads as we discuss Alex Hormozi's book, $100 Million Offers. Champion Reads, again, is brought to you by Champion Circle. You can find out more about Champion Circle at mychampionscircle.com, where you can see past episodes of Champion Reads, as well as other testimonials, videos, tutorials that we have to offer, places to find out where our meetings are, when our meetings are, and how we can help you. So want to, again, thank everyone for watching us today. And I'm having trouble with my computer here. But join us each week as we delve into the best books and learn more from the best people out there. Thank you, and look forward to talking to you next time.
And cue the theme music in 3, 2, 1.